Hello, everybody. It's Stefan of the iMoot team, and I've got the great pleasure of introducing Miriam Fischer to you from Switzerland, but she now lives in the States. And she'll be talking about collaboration in Moodle. We've already found that we've got a couple of Moodle acquaintances from Switzerland in common, and she's worked with one of my favorite Moodlers, so I'm sure this will be a really informative and great presentation. And take it away, Miriam. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. In my time zone, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. Sun is shining, so we'll have a great day. So my presentation is about collaboration in Moodle. And in the past years, I repeatedly came back on this topic. Collaboration seems to be a long-time runner in a way. In a way, I just happened to stumble on it all the time. So I decided to take this topic again and have some thoughts about it. And yeah, maybe first something about me. As Stefan already said, I'm living in Berkeley now, Berkeley, California. I'm originally from Switzerland, Zurich, and yes, I see a lot of new things now. I learn a lot. It's very interesting. I've worked with Moodle for about 10 years or more even, and it is still a system I really like because it's so flexible and because you can really do a lot of things with it. And you can customize it pretty much, even if you don't go back deep in CSS, etc. It's really for me very useful. You find me on the net on my English blog now, emotional.education, and my German blog, cyberlearning.ch. My LinkedIn profile is you see on the slide, and my Twitter handle is Netzlernen. So. Collaboration. I decided for this presentation to take that topic and just show you how we worked with collaboration, how we try to implement collaborative and cooperative sequences with Moodle in our courses. I worked in adult education mainly, and I had to deal with people from every possible topic used in the professional world, like teaching teachers, training trainers, people from medical backgrounds, or also designers, programmers, everything. So my job was to help them and help other teachers to establish modules or e-learning sequences in a collaborative way. So I took a quote here from Andrew Churches, who worked on Bloom's taxonomy for the digital age. I suppose that you know him. He had a few years ago quite a big impact, I think, in the web. And he said that collaboration is not a 21st century skill, but it is a 21st century essential. So I surely agree with that. The thing is, it seems complex, and the more I think about it, the more complex it seems. And here in the Bay Area, also in educational technology, I hear all the time collaboration. But I'm not always sure how people approach it, and it's not always visible for me. And that's why also I decided to spend some time on it and reflect it again, because I think it's quite important. So that said, I had my presentation. When I began with my presentation, I realized that actually my presentation is more thinking about collaboration in Moodle, because there is no recipe, you do it like this or this, but there are ideas and methods. And what I will try to do in this presentation, just share some thoughts, show you some methods I used or we used to implement for our Moodle and e-learning. Okay, so in this picture you see people on a table working on something. We suppose that they work on something. It looks like a collaborative setting, but maybe they're not. Maybe everyone just works for himself. We don't know. But it implies sort of a collaboration. Now, I would like to introduce another source for me, a very important source in the last years, Julie Salmon. You certainly know her 5-stage model. And if not, check it out. It's quite, it's not new, actually. It's quite, I won't say an old source of me, but it is actually. It is one of my first models. I really got deep into it and tried it out. And I have to say, it is really, it is very, how to say, it's still something I really think it's useful and practicable. It's extremely useful. I will show you this 5-stage model and present some modules we implied on those stages. She said, and we will come back to that those quotes repeatedly probably in this presentation. The important is provide practice, not in technology, but in working together. So this implies that working together, the activity of working together is actually much more complex and more difficult than technology as such. So, and another thing I want to quote here is, she says, the main reason why participants keep coming back in a Moodle room, meaning, is to see if anyone has responded to their messages. This means also collaboration is still and always also a social phenomenon. It's based on people. It's a people business. People say here it's people business. Very Bay Area talking. So I realized when I was working on my presentation for this iMoot that there is a difference between cooperation and collaboration. And I also realized that often cooperation is taken for collaboration, but it's not. And yes, let's go on and have a look and reflect it from time to time. Difference is, and we will also repeatedly come back to that, is cooperation means that a group of members help each other towards individuals' goals. So everyone has a goal and they support each other in order that everyone can reach their own goal. Collaboration is, on the other side, is a construction of practice and knowledge, and it's also working together towards a common goal. So you build one product, if you want, if it's not a thing or an object, but it's in a way one common product. Now, for the model, that's for later actually, cooperation happens on stage 3, essentially, maybe already earlier, and collaboration actually is meant for the very complex stage 4, where everything can happen. It's a very constructivist way of looking at learning. So this also means that collaboration is not cooperation, and maybe cooperation is a part of collaboration, but this is something we could make a difference in order to make better e-learning design. So that's actually my point. So cooperation, actually, everyone works basically on their own goals, but with contribution and support of others, of team members. I mean, I was looking for some manifestation of this idea. I found a Twitter feed is actually something like a cooperation, because people work on their stuff but communicate about it by Twitter. And Twitter is in this iMoot a very, very strong channel, I realize. Also here in the Bay Area, everybody tweets. I mean, I'm, in my perception, much more and stronger present than in my old country. The other thing is an example of our courses. In my English teacher courses, we had this module that we had a link list and everybody contributed. So it's also a contributive setting. Everybody helps out. And of course, they look at the links their colleagues posted and comment on them, so that we always would look that people share ideas and comment on the others. Then collaboration is actually the common goal. And I mean, for me, I thought, what is the maybe perfect collaborative product is maybe a movie. Of course, you know who is the director, you know the actors, you see, you realize that there are people behind the scenes, you have people dealing with the sound, with light, with catering, with organization, with, I don't know. It's a huge team, and in the end, you have one product that is in unity. You cannot distinguish clearly who did what and why. Why is this such a dark film? Why is the ambience in the film such and not another one? So this is actually, for me, the image or the metaphor of a collaborative product. So in cooperation, you have the puzzle idea. Basically, everybody contributes. You have, in the end, something which sticks together, which is a thing, actually. But you can distinguish who the contributions, who did what. And in collaboration, actually, it's the cake. Yeah, it's a piece of cake. No, it isn't. It is not at all a piece of cake, but it is about the cake. The ingredients are mixed up. You can't distinguish them anymore, but you have a thing. You can eat it. It tastes. I mean, you can say if it's a successful collaboration or not. And then we have other stuff where it's not so easy to decide if it's a cooperation or collaboration. Maybe you have an idea about that, what this could be for you. I think maybe you have an idea. Well, I would say I know a few rowers here, and I know that it is very difficult to already get into that boat if you're not really trained. I mean, it's so narrow, and you have to handle your weight, your balance in a way, and it should be even harder to get out of the boat, but yeah, only rowers who really are trained can do this. And also by rowing, you have to be perfectly synchronized, and you have to feel the presence of the others. And that boat is becoming one body. This is also that I would say it is collaboration. You cannot row like you would row when you would row alone in a 4 rowers boat. It's not possible. So this is collaborative. And we have this one, also classic, maybe comparable to movie. It's also collaboration for me. You have one piece of music sorting out of multiple instruments. And of course, they have to listen to each other in order to achieve the music they want to do. And then another example, it is an exhibition in Venice, Italy. I don't know what exhibition it is. I just took the image. But I would like to suggest that those are different artists now this is maybe the most difficult case, because an exhibition is curated. So normally it is not, there's someone who chooses maybe artists in order to make an exhibition. So, but is now this rather contribution of artists, and in this case cooperative, or is it a collaboration? Well, we could discuss. Unfortunately, we don't have that much time, but yes, it's just thinking about cooperation or collaboration. So we are now coming to the 5-stage model. For those of you who don't know it, it's Julie Salmon developed this model. She is British professor of e-learning and online learning, and I think this is really a classic in the e-learning world where I grew up. I can say that like this, and yes, that's also probably the reason why I come back to it again. Okay, in the center of this 5-stage model, we have something important for collaboration. This is those elements she calls activities, which is basically an online activity, and it's always an activity in the core of this activity. This could be very, very small pieces of activity or short activities. It doesn't have at all to be complex or long in time to take to do it. It's very often very, very precise and very small activities for the learners to do. They are small and paced also. You can give them a pace so that people can go through in a certain rhythm. You can also, and that's what she suggests, always implement different forms of feedback. So you can have peer feedbacks or teacher-learner feedback, etc. Coaching is also possible. So these are elements which are quite dispersed on all those stages. Another thing, and that's maybe a bit my experimental approach here, it's not at all scientifically thought, but it is something I really, what struck me, Bloom's taxonomy of the digital age, which was an adaptation from Bloom, original Bloom of the 50s, and very conservative thoughts behind it. But Andrew Georges took that taxonomy and made them active. I mean, we see here these two layers of the taxonomy from Bloom, the blue one. You have nouns, knowledge to evaluation. Knowledge is the most basic form of learning, that you just learn stuff to know them. And Churches did not take other nouns, but he just took verbs. So in Church's idea of this model, or adaptation, I should say, it is already activated in a way. And what's interesting that the top level of Church's model is another one than in Bloom. So the creation aspect here is really strong, that you really start creating on your own. Learners are creating in the end. So that's the goal. Let's say what's this really an experimental idea of me is, how could we also compare this? Because I realized that when I design modules for e-learning, I often consult Salmon and Churches, and I do this for different reasons. But in a way, we have also those layers. I mean, that's a thing in common. And the complexity is increasing. So that's both models have that quality. You can see there on Gilly Salmon's model that the intensity is increasing. On the side, it's written. Amount of intensity is increasing from stage 1 to 4 and is then diminished pushing again towards the end 5. So also creating is the most complex, acts, if you want, in churches model. So intensity also is increasing there. Now, I said earlier that we worked with this model, and now I show you some examples what we did on those stages. Of course, when you enter a virtual space as a learner, you have to have an access. I mean, it sounds easy, but it isn't. Normally, people find the door, especially today. I mean, 10 years ago, it was not that obvious, especially in adult education, not. But today, it's common that people can log into a system. I think this is really something which has been taken over by people as something really basic. Have access to internet in any way. And also to learning systems and learning courses. So, of course, if you come in a place, you want to be welcomed. And of course, I'm sure you also have a sort of a welcome email. What we did then, we just thought of a hotel metaphor, and that it's a space you are guest. I mean, it's up to you if you make it your space with time. I will, of course, do everything you will as a learner. But you have to check in maybe first and say, hello, I'm here. I made it. So let's start. And that's the idea of this check-in module. Once you're checked in, you can work on your profile in order to, nice to meet you. Who are you? So that learners can show a bit about themselves, tell a bit about themselves. And yes, get to know others too. So this is all about welcoming people into your space. Again, the activities, and this is now the check-in activity. It's a simple forum. You have this invitation, and first, of course, you congratulate them that they made it actually into this space, and check in. Please check in is basically asking for show me that you have come into the room, show me that you logged in, and say hello. So that's actually all about saying hello. Then when you're there, actually you meet people, you meet the other ones, and that's when you enter stage 2 on the model. And yes, you start socializing. It's actually a totally natural process. Here you start getting to know others. You start communicating with them. And on the technical side, we moderators or facilitators are up that you are able to log in frequently and come back. So, as Julie Salmon said, the reason why people come back to the Moodle room is because they want to see if others reacted on their inputs. So you have to make sure that those inputs take place so that others can come back and see what happened. So for this, people have also get you used to the system. The assignments are easy. You have we just designed some activities that are really easy on the content side. Everyone can make it. Everyone can participate. This is our standard and game. It's a sort of a little game that people are asked to make 3 statements about themselves, and one of those statements would be false. So the others could go to the profiles of the learners and watch and search for the truths and lies in those statements. I think this is a very common exercise. I saw this also in other Moodles, and I was surprised that they have exactly the same idea. The idea is that people go to the profile exactly and look at their peers, look what they did, what interests them, who they are, what backgrounds they have, etc. And often people thought, oh, this is a bit childish. I don't know if I really want. I mean, I had a lot of skepticism also, especially from adult learners. But I was surprised that mostly then this was very successful. People realized it's easy and it's fun because there are always in the group people who are really have a talent for some really fun statements, and they are successful and get a lot of feedback. And also others are motivated by this to do their own thing. So this is, in a way, a very successful socializing idea. I don't know if you know that, but that particular way, because I really thought that with other institutions too. Then yes, it's a simple forum again, and you have, of course, these threads, people exchanging their ideas and guessings. Now here, a little reflection is that this is, of course, I would say cooperative, because every contribution also is distinguishable. This can be distinguished. Another very nice feature I saw on a MOOC, I participated, and I thought for myself, I will do that again once when I have the chance to moderate an online course, is an online map, a pin. You can set a pin where you are right now, and so it makes sense, of course, in courses where people are not on the same, don't live in the same city, but still then, I mean, you see this, how people are spreaded locally or globally even. And I think it's a nice feature because everyone can explore this map and go and see places they like and or they are interested in, and look who's from there. I think this is, in a way, a nice way to explore where others are, or explore the map of the course. The link is actually a real map. I don't know. Maybe I can put it on the course so that you can try it out. That's the Google map. You can do that with Google Maps. Yes, also cooperative, I would say. And now, a few other ideas were, we often also ask people to write postcards from, means I also train writing forum postings with pictures, and maybe learn also how to handle those pictures when they come out of my phone. They are much too big and you have to do something with them. Or also creating Twitter feeds with hashtag the course, so that this is quasi like a constant contribution to the course. Of course, there are other ideas. Now we come to the third stage, where yes, the learners enter actually their topic or subject and have to research and look what's around, what is it about. There are learning materials to be checked out. There are they have their own ideas or own links or resources, literature. They can contribute to the course. So this is actually about collecting resources, but also checking out what's there and starting to think about what is interesting for me here. The interaction goes now in two directions. You have the content coming in now, learning material, research by students or shared. And of course, the sharing aspect is extremely important here. When you know something, you share. People involved. The second direction, of course, again, I mean, this continues that actually stage 1 and 2 were exactly training to interact with people and the technology. And the learning community here is very important, because it's also something the moderators or facilitators have to manage. It's a community. It's classical community management, maybe even more, sometimes also coaching. Yes. So if we compare those two models here, for me, I dare say, on an experimental way, for me, maybe understanding to analyzing is now on stage 3. That's what you do with the content. You start now working with your own, finding your own topic in this whole course. So this is stage 3, very typical. Orientation is now important on a content level. Members help each other towards their own goals. So this is very classical for us. It was in those at this moment of the course, we established linked lists where everyone could contribute. And of course, contribution is one thing. Commenting on the contributions is the other thing. You always also have to read what others post and to react on it. This is very important, because if you don't do that, you have dead linked lists and nobody looks at them. Same thing with literature. Nobody can read everything, so help each other out and read different books and talk about it. So this is something we made often. People had to share their thoughts on literature. Meant here is literature concerning the topic you are working on. Then you can collect articles, again, the Twitter widget about this, all this content now coming in. Maybe you have to establish a special vocabulary or terms. You have to define terms, maybe. Depends on the topic. Also, visualizations are something I sometimes miss, and I always try to work on that and with that and find them, or images also. And sometimes also students have good ideas what could be other resources and contribute. So this is an example in Moodle of a very classical linked list for English as a second language teachers, just contributing. This is a glossary, and in glossaries you can comment very easily. So the task would be not only to find a link and post it, but also look what others post and comment, ask questions, or talking about an idea that link gave you, etc. And then also on the stage 3, those classic media resource collections. This is in German, but it doesn't matter, because it's you will see also visually how it's done here. It's typical like a library. You find your resources here, videos, lists, and links. Twitter feed again could be something permanent, but you also have to always remind people to use it, really. This is a very old idea, this with a literary forum that, as I mentioned before, everyone reads one book to the topic and points out some aspects that were interesting for him or her, and then others could interact with that. It's a cool look back on Moodle layout history. It's really old. So we come to stage 4, this is now the collaboration aspect. You see that we try to, in a way, prepare the students to this phase of collaboration. And it still is, for me, one of the most challenging parts, because to provoke real collaboration, it's really hard. And you really need to help students to be successful in collaboration and not only cooperate only. I mean, cooperation is also okay, but it's not collaboration. So here it is also a question of taking all that content that you had being provided in stage 3 and do something about it, do something with it, and now start integrating this content into your own world. So this is actually then when you construct your own knowledge. And this is, of course, an original and creative work. And now do this in a team is even maybe not more creative, but in a way more complex. In the end of this phase, maybe you have a presentation for your ideas or what you worked on, of your product, if it is a product. And as I said, it is extremely important here to maintain this collaboration. And hard, I think. So for me now, we are on stage 4. It's also the top of this Bloom taxonomy level. This is actually everything is possible. That makes it also challenging. It could be, I mean, just a collection of ideas we had in our courses. Somebody wrote a manual, others created videos. Some people told their story and developed podcasts. I mean, that was the really successful ones. I mean, not in every course we had everyone to do this, because it's really you need really motivated people to do that. Others did a learning sequence for peers. That was very, very common to do this in the train-the-trainer courses. And of course, very often they make online presentations, very good ones, and share it. The sharing aspect also was always part of our goal. And you can think of everything on this stage. Yeah, it's about the cake. How to do a cake. Actually, it's about the how to do a cake. Collaboration is about the how. Practice knowledge construction is when you have an idea, you figure out how to do it. To maintain an online process between several people in order to do a cake, to make a cake, is very challenging, I think. And actually, I don't have a receipt for that. For cakes, you have receipts, but I don't. But what is a thing that you have to think of? People have to plan how to collaborate already. They have to think about that, to talk about that, and they have to outline something they want to create from the content point of view. And I found a tool that was very easy and fun to use for groups. It's called Poplet, and it's an online application everybody can use. And you can embed those Poplets into your Moodle. So this is very simple and fun. This is just an example of a Poplet. You can make some clusters or mind maps in a way, and you can link them as you want. You can create little Poplets with different colors. So it's also visual. That's what I like about it. Then you have, of course, actually a project management to do. Those teams have to plan, and it's about time, about resources. I mean, they have probably a deadline. Courses would not last forever. So you have people involved, you have weaknesses and strengths that you can take advantage of, etc. So they have to talk about it. That's something very basic. And have tools to do that. And now in a blended learning environment, it's easier because people can meet and really talk about those issues and find solutions. But in an online environment, it's more challenging. And we often let our students choose if they want to use Moodle. Then they could come to see us and say, we need a wiki, or we need a forum, or we are happy with the chat. I mean, they could also have more tools as they like. So we talked with them about how they would work together. And we coach them also. And others would say, we work with Facebook, or we have our own stuff, or we work with that. And so we'd also talk about how they worked together, and if they had a real good idea about how to do this, it was okay. So we, if possible, we let the students choose how they would work together. And of course, something that we also had to talk about is that often in teams you have different roles and responsibilities, and it can be an advantage to think about that. Do we need a project manager who really looks at the timeline and reminds us, or do we not need that? Or do we need a coach? Do we need more coaching sessions than other teams? I mean, that's something, it's possible, but you have to decide if you want it or not. That's it's about. Maybe you have something in the team is really good in producing media, so you can say, oh, you are now our producer, and you can contribute in another way to the team. So also something to think about. And the coach, I already mentioned it, can be the teacher or the facilitator, e-moderator, or whatever. It can also be a peer. Maybe we also tried once that in any group, everyone is also a coach for something or someone, specialists or coaches. We had different roles also in a meta stage of the group. So this is also says a lot about complexity of this stage and collaboration. So on this stage, working in groups or teams means that you have a real project management to go through, and planning, vision about outcomes, getting them back to the ground. I mean, talking about what's realistic and what's not in the time you have. Maybe you have time management, you have different role responsibilities, constant feedback. Where do you get it? And who is your coach? And this means also that you have a constant metacognitive and reflective level here that you have to follow. It's very important. You can do this with a learning journal, but also with regular coaching sessions. So, and finally, when you're on the top of the mountain, you see a lot. That's the good thing. You can now look back and forth, actually look back, what have we done? What have we learned? What have we achieved? And fourth, looking in the future, what are my next steps? How did this lead me, and how and where do I want to go now? So we often try to have an individual blog post from our learners about this. And of course, again, share it and comment on it. Others comment on it. We gave also our feedback, but we gave also personal feedback, of course, as coaches. And then, of course, what's, I think, important that you also try to get feedback from the internet, publish your thoughts or your plans, and open up in a way. Go out. time to fly now. So that's actually the process we initiated when we had time with a group of students to go through in a collaborative manner with Moodle. So the 5-stage model is actually, again, for me, a relatively simple planning tool also for a relatively complex learning sequence or a follow-up of sequences. And if you can now, as a teacher or facilitator, work on with a group, you can now go and make a new cycle, actually go back to stage 3 and take a new topic and do the same again. It doesn't have to be always the movie to make. I mean, you don't have to make a movie. You can also bake a cake. It's much smaller. But it's about the ingredients and the working together and being successful. So that's about that. And again, Chili Salmon, very true in my experience. Working together is the hard part of e-learning. And I also realized that I have to think more about it because it's so complex, and how to break it down really to a very handleable chunks of learning. It's really challenging, and I'm happy that I could see other ideas on that iMoot here, and I'm also very inspired. Trying out other stuff now. Okay, that's about that. What I wanted to say. This is Chili Salmon's book. It has been published, I think, for the first time in 2001. So it's a classic. It's like Shakespeare of e-learning. No, I'm exaggerating. And it has been published for the second time in 2013. For those who don't know it, I recommend it. Do you have any questions or remarks? Tips for me? I'm happy to take what others know and can do.
Okay, it's Stefan from iMoot team back again. Yes, if you've got any questions, just pop them in the chat. We've got perhaps 2 or 3 minutes before the next session starts. Well, you must have been so clear, Miriam, that all questions have been answered, or they'll come to them once they're in the shower or something like that. That's when I always find my questions. Thanks again, Miriam, for a very insightful talk. It's been great having you here. And enjoy the rest of iMoot.
I will,
Bye.
of course. Bye. Bye, everybody. Thank you.